I got you into a Remington party. What's my thanks? It's on the hallway carpet. I got paid in puke. Lick it up, baby. I got paid in puke.
Welcome to Season 7 of Paid in Puke Podcast. This season, we're going to watch and discuss every episode of Ryan Murphy's American crime story miniseries, Impeachment, starring Beanie Feldstein and Sarah Paulson and a bunch of other people.
As you no doubt heard, you get to work in the West Wing as of this morning. You're going to be working right beside the people who run the world. Please, be professional.
There's a woman I'm very close to. In the midst of an affair with the President of the United States.
How do I know it's true?
Hello?
You will lose her as a friend.
I've made my peace with that.
Are you sure you have enough evidence?
My calls with Monica.
Holy shit.
It all has to come out.
The press will destroy her.
You don't know the half of it.
My wife went into a hotel room with Bill Clinton.
That is a lie.
President, do you know a woman named Monica Lewinsky?
That's me. That's my face.
This isn't about justice.
Then what is it about?
Impeachment.
William Jefferson Clinton, do you solemnly swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
This show is based on the book A Vast Conspiracy by Jeffrey Toobin. I'm Jessica Baxter.
I'm Annie Malone. And I'm Christina Barr.
And we're going to begin at the beginning. A very good place to start. The first episode is called Exiles. It was written by Sarah Burgess, who's the showrunner, and directed by Ryan Murphy. It premiered on September 8th, 2021.
Oh.
A very
special day.
Significant date. It's my birthday. But I didn't get to watch it because I didn't have the right kind of television because it's so hard to watch television these days.
Yeah. We have like the opposite of net neutrality with television.
Yes. But Christina was keeping informed. We knew we wanted to watch this and talk about it, and you were our pioneer. Our impeachment pioneer.
I've seen the first episode 3 times.
Nice.
It's really good. I'm excited to rewatch it. It's so good, and I had no idea, like, some of the people from this story that they cover, they made careers for themselves from this whole episode, like with Ann Coulter, and I mean,
She's
she
like,
mentions,
how can I make this about me?
Right, yeah. She mentions George Conway gave her that's Kellyanne Conway's husband.
Yeah.
Like all of these conservative people. Brett Kavanaugh's in it later in the show.
You've just been at this fuckery for such a long time.
Yeah. I really like that this show, Monica Lewinsky was an executive producer on it, and she had a lot of input into how it was. I think she said in an interview, like, she just assumed this would be a movie or something eventually, so she wants to be a part of it to tell her story, and I really like her point of view. I mean, she just was a young woman who she got really taken advantage of and betrayed by Linda Tripp, but also she just didn't deserve a lot of stuff that happened to her, and there's stuff that you learn about her life and her growing up, like she's somebody who was constantly screwed over her whole life, and this was like the ultimate bullying situation on like a worldwide scale.
For real. Oh my god.
Yeah. But I hope she gets some sort of peace, catharsis, exactly, from doing this. Because, I mean, Mira Sorvino plays her mother in it later, and that's really good. Mira Sorvino is somebody who fucking got screwed over by...
her own arc.
I mean, Harvey Weinstein. I mean, this is it's such a great series for women, and Bill Clinton was like fucking gross, lecherous.
Yeah,
like,
it sounds like he was taking his dick out constantly, and not just the times we know about.
He's a serial sexual predator.
Right,
it's really fucked up how... It's fun watching this because I remember when it all happened, you know, and it's like, wow, now I feel completely different about every single person involved, you know? Like, remember when you used to, like, love Bill Clinton?
Right.
What was that about?
I know, he's so fun. He plays the saxophone. He's a real person.
Right, like he's
at McDonald's.
Progressive.
All right, boys. Let's stop in here for a second. I'm a little parched from the jog.
Sir, we've only been jogging for 3 blocks. Besides, Mrs. Clinton asked us not to let you into any more fast food places.
Well, I just want to mingle with the American people, talk with some real folks, maybe get a Diet Coke or something.
All right, fine. But please, don't tell Mrs. Clinton.
Jim, let me tell you something. There's going to be a whole bunch of things we don't tell Mrs. Clinton. Fast food is the least of our worries, okay, buddy?
I know.
Supposedly he is very charming in person. Like, he's someone who has, like, real animal magnetism is what everybody always says about him.
Which is so fascinating because from a distance I never understood that, and maybe his charisma is just something you can't transfer, you know? It's you have to be there, I guess, to understand. And that's like the same with cult leaders and stuff too, where it'd be like, that guy, that disgusting dude who's obviously gross, got all these people to give him all their money and fuck him whenever they wanted and do all these horrible things. Like the Nexium cults. Like, that guy is such a little troll. When you have that charisma, it's like a spell almost that you can put over people.
And like even a more benign way is someone like Pete Davidson, you know, like obviously just mostly like, you know, it's like he's probably just like really nice. Like he probably just has a nice personality or charming in person in some way, you know, like, I don't know. But like everyone's got their guy in their past that people are like, I don't see it.
Totally. Yeah. Pete Davidson, I like that as an example too, because we're talking about all these like nasty people who are using their charisma for disgusting purposes, and he's just like a dude that for some reason you don't want to like, but all these really good people like him, so we're like, he must be fine, he's great, I guess. And it really does go a long way toward being like, I was listening to something about Paul Rudd too, about like why everyone loves him so much, and it's just because he's nice. It's just, he's just regular nice, but no one expects a famous person to be regular nice, so they're like, oh my god, Paul Rudd is amazing.
Right.
Like, all it takes is just don't be a fucking asshole.
Right. Or like when someone, there's been a lot of talk about Pete Davidson lately because of now he's with Kim Kardashian, and someone tweeted, I see all these people saying like, how is he doing this? And I guarantee you he's just like, want to hang out, you know?
Yeah, totally. I like the casting of Clive Owen a lot too, even though it's like conflicting for me because I generally find him so hot. And I've never thought Bill Clinton was sexy in any way, and then all the prosthetics are a little wild. I don't know. I don't know if I'm completely on board for all the prosthetics.
And the wigs, man.
The wigs I'm on board for just because that's going to save them time. Because people really did have their hair like that, and it took hours. I guarantee you Linda Tripp spent a very long time on her hair to make her hair look like that.
Yeah. The prosthetics for Bill Clinton was distracting for me at first.
Well, I mean, Paula Jones even was like, really, is her nose like that important to who she was as a person? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like she had a way bigger nose than that for real, so.
Yeah.
She had a really big nose, Paula. I mean, but not that it's important, but you're right. I mean, it's like, do we have, like...
I mean, I guess appearance is a big part of it all. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's what their argument was in the writer's room.
I think so, because all these women are going to get dragged through the mud in the press a lot for their looks, you know, and I assume that was part of it too, like Paula Jones, you know, people... I'm sure tore her apart. Oh, we're supposed to believe that this guy went after her, you know, this, like, weird-looking... big-nosed Southern hick lady, you know. I mean, I think people's looks
And then when you say it like that, it makes perfect sense. Like, of course he did. Like, that's Because he's preying on people he could get away with preying on.
Right. We saw a little bit in this episode, like the press conference where it's like how the immediate response when someone talks about sexual harassment is like, well, what did you do to bring it?
Why did you go up there with him?
You say workplace, but you and the governor were in a private hotel room, correct? Why'd you agree to go up there?
I just thought the governor wants to see me. That's an honor.
So you expected what? A meeting on state affairs?
Well, I don't know, but I know that he shouldn't have brought me up there for that, and he needs to apologize for what he did.
Yeah, that press conference, and that was like so real too. It seems on the nose a little bit, but then when you think of it, you're like, but they really did say that shit. Like a lot of the lines in this show are verbatim.
Right.
This is a very well documented situation.
Right.
I wonder if this was before the Anita Hill thing or after that. I can't really remember.
I think this was after Anita Hill.
But yeah, like the workplace harassment thing, I feel like people were starting to recognize it, but it wasn't like still like they...
It is interesting that she struggles to find the terminology of sexual harassment.
Bill Clinton presented himself to me in a very unprofessional manner. I would call it sexual harassment.
Did he touch you?
I will leave that. I will not speak on that.
Did he expose himself?
I can't speak on that.
They're still treating her like, well, what did you think was going to happen? You weren't in an office. We were in a hotel, and it's still like none of that. I mean, now you hear that happening like with a boss employee or that kind of power dynamic. It is harassment off the bat.
Absolutely. Like that's all Harvey Weinstein did was like bring people to hotel rooms. That's where he had meetings.
Yeah. And it seemed like it was still this time in the culture where it's like, no, explain yourself. Why were you there?
Right. Or just flat out, we don't believe, like what happened with Anita Hill? We had this trial. It's like, oh, we don't believe you. You're on the Supreme Court.
Right.
Oh, Clarence Thomas wouldn't do that.
I think it was really more like it doesn't matter that he did.
Right. It's either we don't believe you or it
yeah.
doesn't matter, and
it was obviously your fault somehow.
Right.
And then also like their whole incredulousness about it being a hotel room when the government itself conducts so much fucking business in hotel rooms.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's so much government money spent on getting nice double suites at the Ritz. To do interrogations. What's going on in the Pentagon? Is there no room there for that kind of thing? Like, that's where business is conducted. It's the whole like Hamilton room where it happens behind closed doors. That is how the government is run, and it has always been run like that. It's a boys' club. It's a hotel room full of creepy dudes in suits. Oh my god.
And like they're conservatives and Ken Starr are really gunning for Clinton, like we are going to take this guy down, and they saw Paula Jones in that tape and they're like, this could be a good lead for us. They hooked her up with like those high-powered lawyers. They're just like those Washington power play, is this anything? Like these watchdogs.
It's totally, is this anything? How can we monetize this?
Right.
All
Or
it
it's
is.
like, we care about this if it helps us politically.
Yeah.
Like it's totally, oh, conservatives think sexual harassment is bad. Well, it must have been a Democrat who did it. And it does happen the other way that like, a Democrat did it? No, it didn't happen. But that was just a misunderstanding, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just insane, the hypocrisy. And I feel like has changed to an extent, but we definitely in the last couple of years saw people explain away things that were soups inconvenient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. I don't know. We're just kind of talking all over the place here, but hot proms? We can try to do like the regular format.
Yeah, I feel like we should.
Shut up. Hot probs is on.
Oh shit, yeah.
Do y'all have any hot props?
I'm like, get some light bulbs. I don't like how dimly lit every scene is. I'm like, turn the lights on. Even she's in her own apartment. Like, why is it so dark in here? This is obviously an aesthetic choice of somebody, but I don't like such a dimly lit show.
Well, that would have been Ryan Murphy, I guess. He's the director. That's what he wanted. That's his vision. He's definitely going for a vibe.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Does that kind of carry out through... I know there's different directors.
This first episode, it really had a like kind of like a House of Cards vibe, like the Washington secrets and people being followed and the dimly lit
The color palette is grays
Yeah.
and blues, and you really notice then when someone like Linda's wearing a pink blazer. When you think of Washington, you just think of gray.
Yeah.
Like gray tones, grayscale.
Yeah, I also kind of like it in comparison because you see Monica and she is this really friendly young person and she's working in these very conservative environments. Comparing her to Linda Tripp, I just feel like she's in this drab environment, but she's actually like a real friendly, nice person that wants to do a good job, and she's
bubbly. I totally
she's
get her persona. I knew people like that aspired to be in government, really believed in democracy.
Right.
And that's where she's at. She's a young, optimistic, 23 is such a baby. She's an intelligent, optimistic, political idealist.
Yeah. And she's working at the Pentagon, and that place is like a drab fortress.
Yes, everybody there is so downtrodden.
And it's kind of interesting to see that part of the government that is just, no matter who's in the office, there's a kind of drudgery to all of that work, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Linda Tripp thinks that she's so important and vital to the whole White House West Wing operation is just like, she's a narcissist and she has this inflated sense of self and self-importance.
I'm a multi-decade veteran of the civil service, having worked at the highest levels of the executive and military, including a stint at Fort Bragg, during which I had top secret clearance working for a division of the Army so classified it technically doesn't exist.
So, Delta Force.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
You're the office staff. Any president moving into the White House, this staff comes with the job.
Right.
And she thinks she's a White House player, but she's not a part of that world.
Yeah.
She gets the guy lunch and books his dinner reservations or whatever, you know.
It's
and
like a personal assistant, basically.
Right, yeah. Just how this whole thing unfolds, it's just like she really wants to be in the center of something.
Yeah.
And to be like this important and she's just...
They did a very good job of illustrating her.
She's a pathetic.
Motivation. Yeah.
She sucks so much.
She's right. She's the only person who, my opinion didn't change in the last 30 years or whatever, you know.
Any other hot probs?
Did you have hot probs, Bex?
I don't know if I did. Other than, I guess the prosthetics are really noticeable, but they're just a little distracting. I don't like that kind of thing where you just notice it every time. I want to get immersed in the world.
And it's hard. Do you only notice it because you know who these people are? You know, it's like...
Right.
And I think with Clive Owen, it's noticeable. Even if you don't know it's Clive Owen and you don't know it's supposed to be Bill Clinton. Like, if you were just watching this movie totally blind, like, this is a movie about a made-up thing, like, I feel like you would still be able to tell that he has prosthetics.
Absolutely.
But it's more distracting when you know who the person is in real life.
The voice is so good, though. Yeah. Clive does the voice really well.
Yeah. I haven't heard, I just heard the tiniest bit today.
How was your first day?
It's a good impression in the sense that it doesn't seem like an impression. It just seems like he changed his inflections a little bit and his timbre, but it's not like an SNL character, which is good. I think he's a really good actor. I like Clive Owen a lot. I really don't have any hot problems other than that.
Next call.
It's pretty well done. That was a pretty solid opening.
Yeah, I have a lot of things that I loved about it.
Yeah.
You know? If we ever have a thing that's like not meaningful passages, but just stuff we like.
Stuff we like. Well, let's do that now. Stuff we like.
We can figure out something. I'm sure Veronica likes something at some point. there
is literally a Heather's quote for everything, so we'll figure it out.
You're beautiful.
I liked how they set this scene in the 90s without beating you on the head with it.
Yeah.
It's just like someone has a pager, she's at step class, you see Jane magazine with Courtney Cox on the cover. I like that. Again, if you went into this not knowing what it was about, you would know from the early scenes when it takes place. Without it being so, it's something I feel like, especially when things are in the 80s, it's like every line has to be about your swatch or the Rubik's Cube or tape or something. Like, okay, I got
That's true. Like, the 90s felt very normal when you were in the 90s, and there were definitely, weird things about it, but I thought that was very seamless. Like, unlike the noses, I really easily was transported back to that time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like the frozen dinners and the Slim Fast. All the diet culture from that time is very familiar. And the clothes are so 90s.
But they did a really good job making them tailors. Whoever he gets, Brian Murphy gets for his stuff is so authentic, I guess. It's like just, it doesn't feel like costumes. It's like they just got patterns from that time and recreated the outfits.
Yeah.
I think maybe they do that sometimes.
Yeah, it's really
like
good.
all the blazers, power suits, and the hair. Jesus Christ, the hair is like...
Right.
People spent so much time on their hair.
The diet culture too, just how it's like so pervasive. You can tell it's like on their mind all the time. You know,
Yeah.
when they show Monica eating lunch and kind of picking out her salad, taking things off her sandwich, you know, and you see her calendar, she has her weight written down every single day, and they're both, you know, with their lean cuisines and the slim fast. And when Linda Tripp talks about why she got moved from the West Wing or something, she was like, I was very trim then.
Where were you when you were there? My last stop was the council's office. We touched everything at a very high level. I was the last person to see Vince Foster alive.
Oh, wow.
Before that, during Bush, I was on a desk right outside the Oval. Why was I sent to the council's office? Well, back in '93, I was very trim. I have reason to believe that Hillary didn't want me near the president, if you know what I mean.
That's so saturated to
Yeah.
women's lives.
Weight Watchers makes these amazing meals you can microwave.
Oh, I have seen those at Safeway.
They're low fat, so you don't want to kill yourself later.
You need to worry.
Are you kidding me?
You're gorgeous.
Not in Beverly Hills. Second grade, they called me Big Mac.
In my high school, they called me Gus.
Absolutely. And you do really get the impression that, like, she's not that far off base about what women get promoted and which women do not.
Yeah, and they both sort of have this connection immediately because they're both miserable. And
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
that's like their bond, is they've both been banished to the Department of Defense. And I think that's an interesting way to start a relationship with a potential friend. It's kind of like bonding over your misery can be... I don't know. It's just a weird place to start a friendship,
it's a little bit
I
of
think.
a toxic basis.
It's a
for
toxic
friendship.
basis, exactly. And then Linda Tripp she's pressing for more info because she's looking for something for her. You know, maybe I got something here. Like,
Yeah,
maybe
she
this...
sees the angle immediately.
Yeah, she's conniving, and then you see it in the beginning where she's trying to call. She's beeped Monica because she was in step class, and she's like, I was exercising, and Linda's immediately like, oh, you make me look like a slob. Like,
Right.
you're so
Yeah.
disciplined.
Where on God's green earth?
I was working out. Jesus, Linda.
You're disciplined. You make me feel like a slob. Listen, can you do lunch in an hour?
That is their dynamic. Linda's just miserable. They're friends, but the bond is like...
Well, they're only friends because Linda is opportunistically making that happen.
Yeah, and then I think Monica's genuinely lonely. Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't have a lot of friends, and she's living with her mom at the Watergate in her apartment.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she still feels like she's in love with Bill Clinton, and he's not returning her calls. So I think she's in a really vulnerable place in this. Like,
Yeah.
when she's meeting Linda Tripp.
She's waiting for his call. That's a BTS thing I read about, was the nature of phones back then. Monica really did spend a lot of time sitting near the phone in case he called.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks out. Like, if you were waiting on a call, you had to sit at home by the phone.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like even near the phone. If you were too far away and you didn't answer in time.
Right.
That's it. I know. I think they do a really good job of setting up that dynamic in this episode.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of shitty office culture,
Oh,
too.
yeah.
It's kind of funny how a shitty office is a shitty office, no matter where it is.
Oh, yeah.
Is anyone else smelling that?
They're doing electrical work, Linda.
Any industry. I know. It seems like it's inescapable, right?
And, like, why did we as a society decide that we should cluster people together like that? Like, it's not good for anybody.
No privacy.
Yeah.
Sharing a cubicle with someone, that's such a...
Yeah, like anybody, even if you would get along, it's
Right.
just no way to be. To spend
Right.
8 hours
like,
a day.
Just having your own cubicle is sort of insult enough. You know, it's like it's not a room. It's just a couple boards. You know?
Yeah.
Like, can't they just put one extra board in the middle so that you don't have to share a cubicle?
I can hear you chewing.
This is how I chew.
I
can hear you chewing. This is how I chew.
And you can tell, like, the difference between Monica on her first day and Linda. And Linda is like, I am going to be interviewed, or they're going to want to talk to me. I need a room to prepare.
As you know, I have been transferred from a high-level position in the West Wing. I'll be blunt. I know too much about Whitewater. It's a near certainty I'll be called to testify. I need a private office so I can prepare.
Oh, I see. No.
She just really believes she's very important.
Yeah. It's so significant when her boss tells her that she's a kind person right before he kills himself.
Thought maybe you could use a treat.
You're a kind person, Linda.
Yeah, and like, I don't know why, but the part where he's like, I left some for you on the tray.
Well, I left some M&Ms on the tray. For you.
Oh. Thank you.
He half ate M&Ms and left her M&Ms on the tray of his half-eaten lunch.
And she's like,
that's
you.
how much, that's how important she is to him, I guess, you know? And she keeps saying, I was the last one to see him alive. And it's like, nobody cares.
It's absolutely true that she is this person that no one does really want around, and she isn't significant really, and she wants to position herself there.
You know what I've always thought? You're about as sharp as a marble. So you go ahead and drive home. I'm going up to the OEOB to talk to your superior because something very wrong has happened here.
Linda, we tried to keep you. We went out of our way. We asked all around the White House. No one wants you here.
I feel like it's a good portrayal because I am sympathetic to her. Like, she has definitely obviously had a hard life.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with the profession and her looks. Like, that is, I don't know if it's worse than Hollywood, but it's very similar to Hollywood in the sense that it really doesn't matter how good you are at something if you don't look the part.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Or aren't charismatic. It's really a job requirement.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I feel like DC is kind of a Hollywood situation. Lots of, like, powerful players.
Well, that's what they always say is, like, politics is Hollywood for ugly people.
Yeah, like...
But still, it matters how you look.
Right. Ugly people by Hollywood standards, you know,
right.
like Hollywood homely.
I feel like Linda Tripp, like, she refers to how kids called her Gus when she was growing up.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they've both been bullied about their weight and things like that. And then Linda Tripp, I guess her father was a philanderer. Then it was, like, known in the town, and I think that really affected her sense of, like, I'm gonna fix this. This man can't get away with this kind of thing, like with Clinton. I feel like I have sympathy for her, but I also feel like she's just such a narcissist.
Right. It's like, in a way, it's like someone who sort of did, well, I don't want to say she did the right thing, but like at heart somewhere there is something, like Paula Jones had a lawsuit against him, and him lying about Monica did hamper that lawsuit. Somewhere in there, it's like, yes, this was relevant and meaningful, but I still feel like what she did was so fucked up, you know?
Yeah.
It's not quite like did the right thing for the wrong reasons, but there's something there, you know?
Yeah, but she definitely has this firm sense of right and wrong, and she really felt like she was doing something for her country in some way.
Right. She was convincing herself that it was for that reason when it was really obviously just to position herself as an important person.
Right. It's like, I'm the hero of this story, but did she at heart really care about Paula Jones? Probably not.
Yeah.
Or even like sexual harassment in general. Did she really care about that?
Yeah.
No.
Again, I think no. Right.
Yeah, because it's probably, like in my MBL, like, no one ever sexually harassed me, so you must have done something to deserve it.
Of course, that's not what got you my job, is it? We all know why I'm being fired and you get to stay. You got my job because the president wants you around. You know that, and I know that. In fact, the president knows I know a lot.
Yeah, she has this sense of, like, I've been in the White House for almost 30 years. She feels indignant about the Clintons are sullying this institution or whatever with Pizza Fridays.
When the election happened and these people showed up with their total lack of respect for this institution and their obvious contempt for half the country, threw everything the sleaze. The pizza parties on casual Fridays, I bit my tongue and did my job as a civil servant who was foolish enough to believe that my sterling reputation for professionalism and integrity still mattered.
Like, using the restroom and not her private.
Right, yeah. She's like, I can't believe Hillary Clinton is using our bathroom.
I'm serious. What was she doing in there?
Probably what everyone does. You're so hard on
You always say that because your husband's a donor.
Linda. Her office is on this floor.
I have to stop you. Listen to what you just said. As though that's not unbelievably disturbing in itself. The First Lady's office in the West Wing.
She's so judgmental.
Oh, and then saying,
about-
like, the what does the First Lady need her in office for? Like, the First Lady does all kinds of shit.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder
First Ladies are very fucking busy.
Right, but I feel like what it was like, but Hillary was busy in the wrong way, you know, like, you're supposed to do First Lady shit, like, decorating and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah, I wonder if that was the first time a First Lady had an office in the West Wing versus somewhere else. I don't really know, but it seemed like significant in some way.
Oh my god, those t-shirts. Oh, I remember those Impeach the Bitch t-shirts, and they were very popular bumper stickers in Virginia too at the time.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, you were probably... Where did you live around that Beltline area with D.C.?
I was about 2 hours away from D.C. There were people that commuted to D.C. for work every day from our area, but not too many people. But yeah, there was a lot. Like, our football team was the Washington football team. Because we didn't have our...
You're just sticking with that name, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, like, I really remember the whole attitude of, like, she thinks she's the president and impeach the bitch. And that was, like, the start of my political activism at that time. I was like, it seems so ridiculous that you think that she shouldn't be doing any work when she's got this position, and the Clintons are so complicated.
I know.
Like, I hate defending them. They did fucked up shit, but they were getting chastised for not the same fucked up shit that they were doing.
I mean...
Right. It's like, it's hard to have a conversation about Hillary. It's like, I dislike Hillary, but wait. Why?
Yeah.
I do need follow-up questions.
I remember when he was running, they came to Gainesville to do a rally. My mom and her friend Alice, she has a daughter named Holly, they let us skip school and they took us to campus to see Bill and Hillary Clinton, and it was like an exciting time. There was something different about them. I remember my friend Holly had a Go Hillary sign, and I think that was the first time where I felt interested, or at least like excited about anything political.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was like 13. It was pretty cool seeing like somebody like Hillary seemed like, wow, she's cool and she's a lawyer too and she's done all this stuff too. I mean, but now like it's just...
I think a big part about what this series is, at least the vibe that I'm going to get from it, is like remembering that it was like an exciting time in politics, like you were saying. And I remember that was the first election I voted in, was the 1996.
Me too! I voted for Clinton.
I made sure to register and vote in time so I could vote for Clinton in that election. I was so excited about that, and it was coming off of Bush and how horrible the war was. And it's just a cycle, right? It's just a cycle of every once in a while we get candidates where it seems like they're going to do something, and we're going to, and then the tide will turn, and then it's just still more of the same shit.
Yeah, it was just so easy to get wrapped up in the message of it all.
Yeah.
Like, these people were my parents' age, and they seemed cool or something. Like, they seemed like it was this new...
I know, it's very
they're
telling
not like
that they
George
seem,
Bush.
Right,
Like, they're not
they
like,
were the fresh faces
they were
of
like
George Bush.
It's so wild.
Arsenio Hall and played saxophone.
Oh my-
I'm an old, so I voted for Clinton in '92. That was my first voting.
It's like so crazy to remember that. And now, you know so much now, there's no way to go back to that feeling about the Clintons for me.
No.
Like,
No.
so, but for a window of time, they really captured something, you know?
I mean, and it's like, you know, with Obama too, like that seemed like such an optimistic time.
There's a whole, that's because Obama ran as a progressive, but then didn't serve as a progressive. So there's a whole generation after us that's like, that was my first vote, and I was so excited to vote for Obama, and now it's like, again, you know, like, what a disappointment as a person and as a president, you know, and it's just like, it's just this is what always happens, that like you are excited about politics when you're young, and then you become jaded because it's like,
Because it never changes. It always, like,
and it's like you run as a progressive to get elected, and then you serve as a moderate for some reason, and then pretend even with my super majority, oops, can't get anything done.
To
Oh,
maybe
now we
get
lost the
reelected.
majority. Oh no,
Yeah.
you know how did that happen?
It really is just
Same
a fucking pattern.
We're gonna lose the majority because we didn't do anything with it, you know. And then it's like, oh, why are young people so jaded about politics? Like, I don't know. What a mystery, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if our parents' generation have that with, like, the Kennedys or something, you know? Although that's a whole different thing, I guess.
Yeah, there's, like, a big mythology, I think, with them. Way more than the Clintons, I think. Something about JFK. It's, like, this mythological...
Charismatic as fuck.
Thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because you look at him, it's, like, not an attractive
Same
man.
deal.
You know, right?
Same deal.
Right.
Like, somehow Marilyn Monroe, like, one of the most
God.
beautiful women to ever live.
Right.
Did you ever...
And it probably is why she died.
I watched this interview with, I forget what her name was, but she was like a college student when she like worked at the White House with JFK, and it's the same harassment situation, and like she thought she was in love with him, and he was a predator too.
Like, I'm sorry, the Kennedys are a family of fucking douchebags. It's so weird how we've mythologized that family as like American royalty.
Yeah.
And it really is like
just,
royalty
like,
when you think about it. I mean, royalty, like British royalty is also fucking douchebags. So it's actually
Harry.
a very
Prince
accurate
Harry's
comparison,
good.
but like it's not great. What's
I said except Harry, Prince Harry's.
Oh, of course, yes, Harry, Meghan, Stan.
It seems like the Kennedy thing is like, is it Joe Kennedy or I don't know, the guy who's a congressman or something. He's just such a diluted Kennedy. I just feel like his brand is like it doesn't work anymore, and it's like that's old.
Right.
Sorry, we're done with the Kennedys kind of thing in this political landscape. I mean,
it's like a big fraternity. They're just a bunch of bros.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the entire government is like I'm loving the vibe so far because it really seems like it's just showing how it's all this like burning Rome situation.
Yeah.
Started burning long ago, and it's just been smoldering this whole time, and it continues to do so, and we really just need a fucking revolution, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, what's gonna fix this?
And it's just amazing, like, how it's not really about fixing the country or making the country any better or people any better. It's all just, like, a power play.
It's
and,
all
like,
advancing your career.
Like, it's all about advancing your career, staying in power, having these alliances. I mean, no political drama I've ever seen is ever about the work. It's, like, about the behind the scenes. That's what they do. I feel like that's their work. Mainly.
It really is. Their work is like keeping their job or getting another job.
Right.
And that's
Or
literally...
getting money from lobbyists.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Or like Nancy Pelosi, like officiating the Getty wedding.
Disgusting. Right. Talk about tone deaf.
I know.
Not busy. Yeah, lots of free time.
This is a good look for me.
Oh my god. Wow. What a mess. Why is government?
I've already started underlining meaningful passages in her copy of Moby Dick, if you know what I mean.
Should we do some meaningful passages?
Yes.
I feel like I took so many notes. I was writing. Really well scripted. I love the script.
My favorite meaningful passage from this episode is from Margot Martindale.
Character actress.
Character actress. I live like I got nothing to lose, Linda. I recommend it.
I recommend it.
I live like I got nothing to lose, Linda. I recommend it.
I just love that. It's
She's
like
not on scene much, but she is fire.
I do feel like that's bad advice for Linda Tripp, though. She should not live like she's got nothing to lose.
No. I mean, it is bad advice, but it's such a characterizing moment.
Yes, for sure.
And she's smoking.
I know.
The smoking section of the restaurant.
Right.
This big open room. This is not the smoking section.
I really like when Paula Jones is... First, I just love the woman who plays Paula Jones.
Yeah.
We have to say for the listeners, she's the crying white lady in the Sack Lunch Bunch, which is my favorite 4 minutes of television ever.
They're phasing out my department and I will lose my apartment. My mom is no support system. I like that guys can't resist them. Forgot to DVR Drag Race. My friend Elise peeked to my face. Some fraud made them freeze my Amex and then I ran into my ex. And some days can cry.
Her name is Annalee Ashford.
Annalee Ashford, there you go. I love her in this when she's telling the story of what happened, and she's like, so I said, gosh, okay.
One of his state troopers told me, the governor would like to see you in his room. So I said, gosh, okay. And he said, hi, real friendly. Start complimenting me. Next thing I know, he's getting real close. He comes and sits right by me. And that's when I saw he'd taken it out, his business right out in the air. And then he asked me to kiss it.
What'd you do?
I said, no, I'm not that kind of girl. And he said, okay, and I walked right out. I'm from Lone Oak. My daddy was a preacher. I'm not going around to quality management conferences giving out oral sex.
Okay, roger that.
I am disgusted. I am upset, and I want an apology.
His business right out in the air.
I love her turn of phrase.
Right.
And that's real.
Yes, of like someone having to talk about something that they are not comfortable talking about, and the euphemisms that they come up with. And then later when she draws his business.
I can draw it, his area. It takes a dramatic turn.
That is a great line.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I want an apology, and we want a role on designing women for my husband's team.
Oh yeah.
And then the whole idea, like, I could be a love interest, I could come back later.
If there's chemistry, I could come back.
Yeah, it could be like a love interest for Delta Burke. You know, maybe they could bring me back if the chemistry's good.
Taron Killam was so good with her flight attendant husband who wants to be an actor. He really sucks as a husband, I think. Like he just
he definitely key line of my wife.
Yeah,
that's
like,
such a telling red flag line when anyone is like blah 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 my wife.
And the whole thing, how he's basically mad at her because of like the actions of another man. That's a familiar, awesome thing.
And like the part
tells volumes, right? Speaks volumes.
Right?
Yeah, it's all like about him being shamed because of this story, and then
this guy. Who are you?
Right. The part where they're with the high-powered lawyers, and Paula Jones' husband is like essentially broing down with these lawyers. They're trying to convince her to file the lawsuit, and then, I mean, you can tell she's facing the window, and her husband is talking to the lawyers, and he's like kind of being eye-rolly about her.
Yeah.
And then he's like, baby girl, I love you so much. I feel so bad for her.
He's not in an apology, you know?
Yeah,
like,
he's.
I feel like she didn't want anything. It was all him being like, "You have to do something about this. What are you gonna do about this?"
I think
and
she
was
genuinely wanted an apology.
Yeah, I don't think she wanted to do the lawsuit necessarily. You get the feeling like she's feeling pressure from her husband to do that.
And he's an aspiring actor. That's such a red flag also.
Yeah.
Like, you're willing to do all kinds of terrible shit to get a role on designing women that might be recurring if you chemistry. That's like,
That's really
wow.
I do love that his wife, Kobe Smulders, is Ann Coulter. And what little we saw in this episode, she's fucking nailed it.
Yeah, she really has.
Coulter, who sent you this?
George Conway. You think she could be the one?
Certainly needs media training.
I don't care about media, just need her to sue.
We want him under oath.
Why?
Because he's Bill Clinton. He'll lie.
I feel like she's been doing that impression at home for a while.
Yeah, she does. We're waiting to use her Ann Coulter impression.
Oh my god, the voice.
She
sounds just like her.
Another line I like is, "You're sharp as a marble."
No one wants you.
Like their little burn off there.
Yeah. Oh, I really liked, I just felt this very meaningful when, what's her name, brought the documents in and it had a paper clip and Linda was like, we use staples.
Right.
Staples. It has a paperclip. We use staples.
I was just like, oh wow, that whole tone and the we do that's triggering admin office stuff.
Right.
We use staples, like you fucked up on some stupid thing. Oh, that's gonna cost you.
It's pretty relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's so important.
Yeah.
When the woman who she's friends with in the office, Linda trips emptying her office, and she's like, the president has no idea who you are. And it's like...
Mm-hmm. That scene is brutal.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for Kathleen. I really like that actress, too. She was in...
Yeah, she's great.
Elizabeth Reeser.
Yeah.
That's her name. And then that's like after she asked for a job and she got harassed. Also, she asked for a job at Linda's urging, according to this, you know. It was like, you need to stand up for yourself and ask for a job, and then she gets harassed, but then she gets the job, and then Linda's terrible about it.
Right.
Yeah.
It was your idea. I wrote, we gotta buy all this shit that Steve's like about the t-shirts.
Hey, did you bring a credit card? We gotta buy all this shit.
Right, that's another timely thing, that there would be a time where it's like you might not have brought your credit card with you when you went somewhere, you know?
Yeah, that's
charges.
true. Yeah, and then like the line from character actress Margot Martindale about the book, like the kind of book she sells. She does big books, and she says there's a whole horde of Clinton haters in town, and they've all got a book.
This week is CPAC. There's a whole horde of Clinton haters in town, and they've all got a book. Bimbos, ex-troopers, half of Arkansas is here.
That sums it up. Like, that's what it's like there.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, I got a book. And then just how much everyone did hate the Clintons. Still do. Still hate them.
Oh, yeah. And I remember the Jennifer Flowers thing, too. That was really big. Yeah, the Whitewater thing, I did not know much about that, but I read that Vince Foster, he's a childhood friend of Bill Clinton's, and I guess he got a lot of anxiety and depression going through all like the appointments, and he blamed himself for the Zoe Baird thing. And the Clintons have a lot of old crony kind of like, it just seems like everyone who's involved with the Clintons has a crazy story.
Yeah. They may not have done Pizzagate, but they definitely did some shady shit.
They sure did, yeah. I know, it's so hard. I think it's like, there's so many valid reasons to dislike the Clintons, and then sometimes you're like...
I know, like, why are you making things up? We
Right,
don't need to.
right. They basically had slaves in Arkansas, you know, with their prison labor that worked in their home. Unpaid black men, like, in prison were their servants, basically.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
Right.
Do not condone that. Oh, man.
I can't wait to talk about more of the episodes. I'm trying hard to keep it in.
I wrote, is there anything in your past you don't want coming out?
Yeah.
That they said to Paula before she files the lawsuit. It's just also so fucked up. That's such a meaningful line to me, because it's true that, especially as a woman, you cannot complain about anything without your entire life getting turned upside down.
Right, which is like not relevant at all to whether somebody sexually harassed her.
Yeah.
You know? And we just saw this, it's the same thing with Tara Reid. Tara Reid has some questionable things in her past. I don't see why that means that Joe Biden didn't sexually harass her.
Absolutely.
Get ready for a
Like,
smear.
I wonder why women are so hesitant to report.
I know, and like
there's going to be a smear campaign against you.
Yeah.
And then with the Brett Kavanaugh, Christine Blasey Ford, there is no perfect victim. She got screwed, you know.
And so interesting how it's just women too. Like,
yeah, people still
Kyle
make that.
Rittenhouse.
Oh my god.
How that goes for a white man versus a woman of any color. Ugh, what is going on in this country?
Right.
Why are we so terrible?
Yeah. The line, loyalty is very important to me. She tells Monica that.
Yeah.
At lunch, I thought
That's
that was
pretty
pretty
significant.
Of course, nothing was worse than the day I was sent here, stabbed in the back by a fair-weather friend. I won't say more. Sounds awful. It was. It was. Loyalty is very important to me.
Of the shots of the scales of justice in the office. Like, that's just such a joke. I feel like there were a lot of scales of justice imagery in the OJ one, too.
Yeah, I love that
Just
OJ
what a
one.
joke the justice system is. How it really doesn't matter if you did it or didn't do it, or what, you know? It's like, that's not what we're here for.
Yeah, and it has to be like this right moment in time. Oh, I'm sorry. No one cares about this anymore.
Right,
Let's move on. It's like you have to be right in the moment where people are going to pay attention to you or listen to you. And people with news stories, what news decides to show over and over again on TV is just so
It has everything to do with ratings and
Right.
money.
Yeah, they want
What
something
they
to
can
sell.
get out of it. Yeah, it really is all just entertainment based and money based and has absolutely nothing to do with government or justice.
Yeah.
But it's under the guise of those things, when really those things just don't exist. I really do kind of feel like government is an illusion and justice is absolutely non-existent. And that's what we're going to talk about in this show. Oh, God. Wow. I didn't think this was going to make me feel great about the government, but...
Well, yeah, I mean, it's... I guess they called it a witch hunt or whatever. Like, after
Right.
Yeah, and...
That's what a witch hunt was.
Right. And
so triggering.
I know.
Yeah, remember when they held him underwater to see if he would drown, proving whether he was a witch?
Yes.
That's what happened to Bill Clinton. What are you talking about?
Right,
how that went down.
He's very much like, these people just go after whatever. And it's like, you did some shitty things.
But then I wish that the reckoning isn't even coming from a place of justice.
Right, they just want to bring the Clintons down. They don't care about people.
It's true. When she said that there's a vast right-wing conspiracy to take us down, like, that was true.
Yeah.
But it was like, also, and you did some shady stuff, you know? It's like getting Al Capone on tax evasion or something. It's like,
And then this
nobody
poor
is good.
young lady caught in the middle of all of it. I mean, I really do love Monica, actually.
I love Monica.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure she's not like a perfect person, but she is very sympathetic, and I really do relate to her young idealism.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just so fucked up how that happened to her. That was a great book that you recommended to me, Annie. It was The Young Jane Young.
Oh, I love that book. Yeah.
Which kind of was before this. That was a thinly veiled, fictionalized Monica story, but I highly recommend that book. It really got to the heart of how we destroyed this young person. I mean, she's okay now, but she's gonna have this for the rest of her life to reckon with, and I'm sure that she'll never be over it completely. Like, how could she be? Even though now there is this new version and new perspective.
Yeah, there's a lot of redemption for her, but just the way that, I mean...
It's not going to take away the fact that we destroyed what should have been a really fun and more carefree time in her life than it was.
Yeah, and it changed everything for her. I just can't imagine being that young and being the punchline for so many mean things on a global level.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean,
it's just like, well, the whole world is like, you're a fat slut. Like, what?
Yes!
You know, like...
How can you be a
what did she
23-year-old?
do?
Like, remember being 23.
Right. And idealistic and has an affair with this man that, I mean, literally the most powerful man in the world. I mean, you just imagine what that must have felt like to get attention from a man like that at that age. And then your friend turns on you and then the whole world is looking at you and pointing and saying, we hate you because you're fat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it's like middle school, but the entire world.
The whole world, right.
Yeah.
That's so fucked up. Like, how is she okay? Honestly.
I know. And if it had even been like 20 years later, like, it still would have been bad, but there was a big title change with body positivity and sex positivity, you know, like, there would have been that contingent still, but there would have been a lot more, like, she's not really fat by today's standards, you know what I mean? But also, fat is value neutral, but not to society. It's just
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just so much.
I do really think they did a good job of how mean they were about her appearance, but she really was such a cute, fresh-faced girl, and Beanie Feldstein perfectly embodies that.
Yeah, she's just kind of like this guileless, new to working.
She is like a little beam of light when she comes into the
is,
office.
yeah.
You know? I can see how vindictive people would be like, I need to destroy that.
Right. Yeah, I read that one of the most hurtful comments was like when Dr. Joyce Brothers in an interview was like, what guy wants to go home and tell his parents he's gonna marry Monica Lewinsky or something? Yeah, like... Like there were
Joyce brothers.
Yeah, like
Oh,
there's
fuck
so
off,
many
bitch.
like
Oh,
horrible,
God.
and you'll see that later in the episodes, but she's always alluding to, yeah, but one day when I'm married and I'm gonna have kids, and they destroyed that for her. It's just so colossally unfair what they did to her and what she was put through.
Right. And it's like, if you go back and think of like what shitty romantic choice you made when you were 23.
Yes,
and to think
right.
that, like, what if that haunted you for your
Absolutely.
entire life? Oh, man.
Like, not just I had an affair with a married man, but everybody knows about this, and
Right.
details, and it's so fucked up. Being 23 is so young.
Yeah.
You're
It is
such
so
a
young.
baby.
A baby.
Yeah.
A baby. Even if you're really intelligent, which I know she is.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't have the life experience.
Right. And me in my 40s, looking back, thinking about being that young, you really kind of assume most everybody is nice or wants
Like the
best
lady
for
at the
you,
office,
you know,
my
and,
first day, who...
like you really
Yeah.
trust a lot of people, and
Totally.
unfortunate, why do you have to have these bad experiences to learn these things? I've had some bad experiences with people, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
wow, I was just so trusting.
But it also is so fucked up that, like, you can't be trusting.
Right,
You
yeah.
shouldn't have to learn that lesson. You
shouldn't-
shouldn't have to learn that some people will fuck you over.
Heather, why can't you just be a friend? Why are you such a mega bitch?
Yeah, it's shitty. I wish there was a way around all that stuff.
Me too. Well, don't worry. We're destroying our planet.
Yeah, I mean, smoke them if you got them, I guess.
Live like you got nothing to lose.
Because, yeah. Well, should we do lunchtime poll?
Yes.
So this is what's called a lunchtime poll.
So the lunchtime poll question, Annie Malone, what is it?
Okay, so this was a current news story for us in the 90s and is now a TV show. What is a story that has happened in recent years that you would like to see made into a show or movie someday?
Great question.
Thanks. Thank you for your great question. For me, I know someday there's going to be a biopic of this woman, and I really hope they do a good job. I would like to see the Britney Spears story.
Yes.
Yeah. And I just hope they get someone fantastic to play her.
Florence Pugh.
That
would be great.
She would be great, I'm sure. When there's a story like this where there can be like a ton of cameos, you know, there can be...
Yeah.
So
Oh
I
my
love
God.
seeing people playing celebrities, especially if it's other celebrities. Oh yeah, she briefly dated Colin Farrell. I would love that Colin Farrell cameo.
right.
But
man.
especially like, I hope someone plays Justin Timberlake as such a real douchey guy. I hope he's really brought down. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna really look forward to that part of seeing like Justin Timberlake portrayed like kind of a dick.
That is such a good want. I love it. Who should play Justin Timberlake?
It's probably someone I don't know, you know.
Yeah, probably.
Some
Some
young
young
actress.
up-and-coming British guy
Right.
will really nail it.
That would be good.
That's
Well,
a great answer.
I was thinking the Ellen show drama would be good, because I love
Evil Ellen, Evil Ellen.
I know.
That's such a fall from grace story.
I know.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I
like
love
it would have a lot of famous people in it,
Oh
and
my
I
god,
would
obviously
love
Sarah
that.
Paulson would play Ellen.
Yeah, and or she'd be Portia. Oh no, she would be. No, I love that. She should be Ellen. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of lesbians are really mad about the Ellen thing.
Right. Oh, it would be fun to see someone play Oprah in that.
Oh.
Yeah.
And like, oh yeah, the whole Ellen, like her story, and then her behind the scenes of Ellen. Yeah, like
Margot Robbie's Portia.
Oh,
Nice. Now I
that's
can-
perfect.
For
That's
mine, maybe
perfect.
Harry Styles could be Justin Timberlake.
Oh, yes. Oh my god, I'm
I like
so
that.
excited for
Hollywood, call us.
Don't Worry Darling.
Why are we not making a production
This
company?
is
We should
great.
just like
Okay, yeah. Olivia Wilde,
this.
call us. We'll make this happen.
Yeah.
You know Florence and Harry Styles, and we'll just
Oh,
cast them
great.
and we'll have our own like Ryan Murphy style production.
Yes, that's perfect.
With Olivia Wilde's money and power.
We have notes. We have thoughts.
Yeah, so many good ideas. I haven't come up with mine yet. Let's see. What am I obsessed with?
Oh, I feel like I know one for you.
Yeah.
Scientology.
I was just gonna say, I was literally
Oh.
thinking Scientology.
Well,
Yes.
Flag that you come up with.
Yeah. Katie and Tom.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta
would be
see
good.
that Katie and Tom Tom's story.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and again with the fun celebrity cameos. I mean, there were so many fucking famous people at that wedding. Leah Remini. Gotta get someone to play. Leah Remini executive produces, obviously.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Wow.
That's what I want. I want it so bad.
Oh, man, who could play those two?
Oh,
you have John Travolta in it, or maybe a side story with the Danny Masterson.
Oh well, obviously, I mean, there's just so much there.
There's so much there. Yeah,
It would be so fun to see someone play John Travolta. I feel like that's like a great role for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
I want to see that. That sounds good.
Yeah, and then again, Oprah, another Oprah opportunity for someone to play Oprah.
Couch jumping. The couch
Who wants to play Oprah?
Right. Oh man, I am so excited for these 3 movies.
Nicole Byer. I want mine to have Nicole Byer as
she would be awesome. God, that couch jumping scene, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I had always really liked Tom Cruise, but like I just remember seeing that and I'm like, what is up with Tom Cruise? You know, like it was just like what the fuck is going on?
That was interesting. It was like the veil falling away.
Yeah.
That's strange.
I know. It's so really funny too because Scientologists are all teetotalers, but like they act like they're on drugs all the time.
Yeah.
What is going on there? I almost feel like drugs would help you people, maybe. Maybe some antidepressants. I guess none of them are medicated.
They're super
It's just a bunch of people with mental health issues who are not addressing it at all.
Yeah, they're really against antidepressants.
And in fact, since we're talking about Scientology, they have slaves. They have slaves that specifically just scour the internet for like Scientology shit. So you can't sue me because I'm not making any money. But like, I wouldn't be surprised. One of my listicles was about Tom and Katie, and it got pulled because Scientology threatened a lawsuit at this like fucking listicle company.
That's what, like, I remember like early days of internet, like on IRC, Internet Relay Chat, which is like 90s internet, how I met my old boyfriend. And I do remember like on the message boards, anytime somebody and because the message boards I were on were like Hollywood gossip ones. And anytime somebody mentioned Scientology in a negative light, which is how you talk about it, right? Then it was like that account would sort of like get taken over. Like all of a sudden, like the person who posted that, there'd be like all these posts from them that were just total like gobbledygook, gibberish, garbage, like unreadable. And I think somebody was like stepping, like, so that everybody would then block that person because it's like they're just spamming with this like
right, yeah.
I was like, why does this happen? You know, I was like so young and not like, why does this happen every time someone mentions Scientology? Then they just post a bunch of crazy stuff that makes no sense. There was something there.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Like, I don't know if it was like they created a dummy account that looked like it or what, but it was like definitely there was some trigger. Like anytime someone mentions Scientology, someone is on it, like doing.
Yeah, they have teams of slaves in basements. Like literally, yeah.
Maybe
that is
Anya,
crazy.
What do you think of Anya Taylor-Joy as Katie Holmes?
Oh, I love it.
All right, call us.
Oh my god. That's a great idea.
Wow.
How very.
This was a good lunchtime podcast.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for the next episode.
Oh.
If you enjoyed this episode of Paid in Puke, please take a minute to rate us highly on your preferred podcast listening apparatus. If you did not enjoy this episode, no further action is necessary. Paid in Puke is hosted by Annie Malone, Christina Barr, and Jessica Baxter. Music by Silent Partner. Follow us on Twitter at PaidInPukePod, on Instagram at PaidInPukeSeattle, and on Facebook at Paid in Puke Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Lick it up, baby. Lick it